Hello again. Welcome back. And this time I'd like to talk about the bread and the wine, that Last Supper itself. And we're continuing the Passover story here. And special attention needs to be placed on the bread and the wine. So we're going to look back and go back in the Old Testament and see Christ is bridging the Old Testament with the New here and fulfilling all that was said about the Passover in the Old Testament and fulfilling that in the New Testament with His blood. Now, of course, the Passover in the Old Testament was when the Egyptians were in the Israelites were in Egypt. They were, slaves there, and were familiar with the plagues in Egypt. And death was one of the plagues, and of course the Israelites there needed to, in order to be passed over, you see, by the angel of death, they had to put the blood onto the doorpost. And so that was a microcosm of the sacrifice of Christ that He would do on the cross. You see, the cross was made of wood, just like the doorpost, and His blood spilt on the wood, and therefore death passed over the entire world, humanity, and so Christ taking that death Himself upon Himself, and so by His blood shed, it freed us and saved us. See, and from eternal death. So now the wine, of course, at the Last Supper symbolized His blood, and the bread His body. You see, so He broke the bread, and He said, "This is my body, which is broken for you." Now, the bread was a flat bread, the same as in the old days. When it was instituted, the temple sacrifice services, and of course that all pointed to Christ. But there was the showbread that was, flat bread, and that was in the holy place in the temple. See, and so this bread was made of just three simple ingredients. It was flour, water, and oil, and these three things, symbolized a trinity of ingredients coming together as one, and feeding man. It's bread, and you can eat it, and it will sustain life. You see, and so, but the Jesus said that a kernel of wheat must, die before it can give life, and go in the ground, you see. And that's what we do. We plant wheat in the seed, and then it comes out into many seeds, grains. And so Christ was that seed. It had to be crushed. And you think about a millstone crushing the grain, the wheat, and into flour, you see. And so Christ's body was crushed, see, for us by sin. And so then we also have the oil, which is the Holy Spirit, you see. And then the water, which was Christ was the living water, you see. And anyone who says he drinks his water will not thirst anymore. So you combine all these ingredients, the Holy Spirit and Christ, and living water, and you come out with bread. You bake it, and it's a simple analogy of Christ. There's a spiritual aspect and a physical aspect. The physical is it's actual bread, and you feed you, and the spiritual is that the food is everlasting life, and the spiritual. So there's a dual meaning there, but and so Christ said His body is broken for us, and then of course the wine symbolizes blood. The New Testament, which is shed for many, you see. And so, by partaking of this, disciples partake His, sufferings, and foreshadowing what they would have to endure, as well as His disciples, and to also teach us that to do in remembrance of Him, and to also partake of His sufferings, and suffering for the truth, so that the truth about His salvation, that others may live, And so this is the Christian Commission today. And I hope you, got something out of this. And have a good Easter, a good Passover in the meal, and God richly bless you. Thank you.